this week it's just Trevor and I. We're getting together. We weren't able to get Tom. He's up in, where is he at?
He's in Boston for a bachelor party.
Boston for a bachelor party. There you go.
Yep.
Too good for us. But he'll be with us. He'll be with us next week or maybe the week after. We've got to look at our schedule.
Yeah. He should be back.
So look for a dynamic recording podcast. It's not always going to be all three of us. It's going to be switching between. Maybe I won't be here one week. Maybe Trevor won't be here, and we'll just interview different people or talk between two or three of us. So this week we're going to talk about camping and our experience.
Camping, cooking, and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I got my start camping with Boy Scouts.
Yeah, see, I was never a Boy Scout. My cousin is an Eagle Scout. So I don't know if you got that far.
No, I did not get that far. I got far enough to go to Philmont and do the 110 miles in 11 days backpacking. And then I'm like, I'm out. That was fun. Thanks to the experiences. I am not doing this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I was never in Boy Scouts, but went to a lot of like camping camps, like sleepaway camps and stuff, 2-3 weeks at a time kind of thing. But first official camp trip was probably when I was 16. Nothing crazy, just hanging out in the woods.
Just with family?
I was just with a couple buddies. We were just hanging out. We went out for a single night, and it was miserable. It was miserable.
Just rainy?
No, it's I think the biggest problem that a lot of people have with camping is there's a big misconception about what you need to bring when you go camping.
Oh yeah.
Because, you look at a lot of movies and TV shows and people can it be done? Absolutely. You can definitely carry just a one-person tent and a sleeping bag, and you can do it that way. But
your family was Aziz Ansari from Parks and Recreation.
But yeah, so we went out, we had a 4-person tent, thinking, yeah, that's for 4 people.
Plenty.
Right? And because I had only ever slept in a 2-person tent by myself, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just all right, cool, it was fine. And yeah, it was not good.
No, it was a little tight.
It was a little tight. Just sleeping bags.
Yeah, the 4-person tent that I have is enough for really me, my cot, and maybe one of the dogs. We squeeze Mackenzie in there and her cot sometimes too, but
yes,
it is tight in there.
Yeah, no, that's why I have, because you have the Taj Mahal tent.
I do. It is a 9-person.
I've got my big one that's a 6-person that we fit. For me and Brittany, we fit both cots, both dogs, all of our stuff, and the reason I like it so much is because I can actually stand straight up in it.
Yeah, that's
and
my
still
Taj Mahal.
have probably a good 6 or 8 inches above my head, so I can get fully dressed, not have to be all hunched over like I do in my 4-person tent. Granted, when I'm in my 4-person tent, I can fit my cot and all my stuff, and it is absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think a lot of people get that misconception about camping that you can just bring just a couple things. And
yeah, the 4-person is enough for me and my bags and my cot, and nothing else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the cot revolutionized camping for me. I was reluctant to go camping before. Big dogs was fun because all my buddies were there, but I hated it because I had to sleep on the ground. And then I found the cot. I'm like, oh, look at this.
Well, yeah, because we Tom had his air mattress the first time.
Yeah.
And I had my air mattress.
I had an air pad. It was like a half-inch thick air pad that for backpacking.
Yep. And then he ended up you remember those foam mattresses that he had?
Yep.
That he used to stuff in the back of the Chief? And then those got all wet.
Because the previous story.
Because the Chief flooded. Yep. And you were the first one to get the cot. And then Tom and I quickly followed because they were great. I love mine because it's the XL, so it's 6'6", which is awesome. And it also comes with a cup holder and a little side table.
Oh, does yours really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And Tom's all jealous because I spent less money on mine, even though they're both Coleman XLs, and mine has the side table with the cup holder in it.
I think we've got a Coleman, and then we have the Ozark. And people sleep on the Ozark Trail stuff. That Walmart, I think your chair is Walmart. That Walmart brand
This is
stuff.
Ozark Trail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Walmart brand.
Mhm.
Yeah, that. I mean, the big box store. I get it. Like everyone hates the big box store.
Yeah, but
They make some quality camping stuff though.
I mean, the chair I'm sitting in is Ozark Trail, and it has a footrest and everything. Like,
My kayak is Ozark Trail.
I get called bougie all the time because I got a freaking footrest with my camping chair.
Yeah,
but
it's awesome.
guess who's most comfortable at the end of the night?
Not as nice as Buddy's rocking camping chair.
Well, I was gonna say,
But he is himself. He can't go on a camping trip without spending $150 that
Yeah,
weekend.
but-
at least.
Buddy's rocking chair, and then Greg has those kick-out chairs that are pretty nice too.
This has just become an ad for Ozark Trail.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Walmart, send the check. But yeah, so the tent's super important. I mean, I kind of follow the rule of thumb of 1 times 4.
Yep.
If you're gonna have 2 people with stuff, you want at least an 8-person tent
To be there comfortably. If you want to be like some fancy high tech,
yeah.
yeah, you can bring your 1-man tent and.
But
be
that's
miserable.
the thing. Like I've got a buddy I used to work with who goes on like hiking trips, and he carries his little backpack size 1-person tent with a sleeping bag, and it's it works. But even he'll admit that's okay for one night.
Yeah, I've got one of those for backpacking because I was big into backpacking until I realized you can do the same thing with a car and make life a whole lot easier.
And usually, if you take the right car, you can have a whole lot of fun during the day, other than just
Exactly.
sitting at camp.
Yep.
It's almost like we're talking about off-roading while camping.
Yeah.
And then I think the other misconception that people have about camping, besides how much stuff you should or should not bring, is the type of food you can eat while camping.
Oh yeah.
Like we've proven that time and time again. Like it doesn't just have to be burgers and hot dogs. And
Well, because you and I are so different when it comes to that. Because I have found in my adult life that I'm like a dog. I could eat the same thing for every meal over and over again. I usually eat eggs for breakfast when I'm at home. Then I've got a sandwich wrap for lunch, and then for dinners, whatever. If it was up to me, it'd be sausages and peppers every night of the week. Because I'm a dog, I can make them. I think it's delicious.
It's not so much that I couldn't eat the same meals over and over. Like I've definitely got those meals that I could eat tacos every day and be happy for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like no question. But it was actually my buddy Colin who first kind of put me onto the idea because he's big into off-roading camping too, and he was always talking about how when they go out, because he's got a Tacoma, so he can stuff a lot of stuff into the bed of his truck when he goes out. They were like us. They were the guys who at the campsite were cooking steaks and stuff because they had like the little mini skillets and stuff that they were cooking up while other guys were cracking open cans of baked beans and eating hot dogs in a boiling pot of water kind of thing.
That's the nice thing about the tow rig.
Mm-hmm.
I guess unless you're just camping regularly and just car camping.
Yep.
But like the tow rig life is you can just unload your vehicle and have your Jeep one place, and then all your camping stuff. We've got 3 trucks in our group now that are tow rigs. We can bring a whole house worth of camping stuff. And cooking stuff, and it makes life so easy.
Oh yeah, well,
so convenient.
And like you've proven over time too is, I think people sit there and think like, oh, I got to get all my stuff into my tow rig, and you're like, screw that. You stick it in the trail rig.
I pack in the trail rig on the trailer, and in the bed of the truck. But usually the bed of the truck's just wood, and maybe we throw the grill in.
Yeah, I put
your truck.
Yeah, put the Blackstone or the grill, whatever we're taking that trip, into the bed of the truck with the propane and all that. Usually try and keep everything grouped together as much as we can. But yeah, I think I think people look at food when it comes to camping and just think about how hard it's going to be.
Well, that's just the whole camping experience in general.
Yeah.
Like we've had buddies that came camping with us for the first time. You guys weren't on this trip. It was it Fall Crawl that I went with Mackenzie and Seamus. The first year that I had my diesel and the tow hitch ripped off the back of it. So Seamus had to pick my trailer and us up at Mackenzie's dad's house in Berryville and bring us to camp. That was the first year that King bought his Jeep.
Okay.
And King went to the mall and bought the whole place. His camp was so nice. He went to the walls, man.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's
I mean,
just it's
'cause-
just the difference of what you can do is my camp stove is my dad's camp stove from the 60s when he was in the Boy Scouts. It's a Coleman flip open camp stove that runs on like the 2-pound propanes.
But see, that thing is nice because that is super versatile. Like, how many things have we cooked on that?
Yeah.
Like, there was a time where that was almost exclusively what we were using if I had to cook anything in pans or pots. Like, that's what we used
Yeah.
until I forget. It was either Tom. I think it's Quist's actually, that 3-burner
Yeah.
that just lives at Tom's house now. That thing was great because obviously more room because your fold up Coleman. The only downside to it is
not
that
a lot
it's got that back to it, so you can only put the pan or pot on so far if you've got a slightly bigger pan than is supposed to be used with it.
Yeah, it's got a lot. It's not a lot of retail or what's the word I want?
Yeah, I mean retail space.
Retail space.
I mean,
That
that's-
works.
that's-
Yep.
Yeah,
Those are good words.
but yeah, it's that's one of those things that if you're cooking stuff in pots, that little thing is great because it'll pump out heat, and you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
wrong. Like it's that little 2-pound propane tank, and that thing will last forever.
Forever.
But I mean, I think we've kind of hit the nail on the head with that Blackstone
Oh
because
my god, it's so nice.
especially like I know like the last time we didn't really cook breakfast on it, but like cooking breakfast on that thing, even in the middle of the woods.
When was the last time? Was that like Starter Rock time?
Yeah, that was Starter Rock.
That feels like a year. That feels like a year ago.
We'll get into Starter Rock a different time, because that was a whole other kind of
we
conversation.
need Brian for that, and Brian's not going to be around a lot.
We
but
do.
Brian's going to be on that podcast.
Yeah, Brian, because Brian technically is the creator of Starter Rock.
Yes.
Patent pending. But we had the grill for a while. Two great purchases from Walmart. This really is turning into an advertisement
Just
for
a
Walmart.
whole ad for Walmart. Yep.
Because I found that first grill, the little 3-burner at Walmart. It was on sale for like $89,
Yep.
and that thing lasted us an entire year.
Was that the one that fell off the back of your Jeep onto the highway when Quist was pulling it?
No. That was Tom's old deck grill.
Okay,
that
from his
we
house.
had. Yeah. So because of that, I was like, I don't want to keep having to bring our nice grills to the Cove
Yeah.
in case that happened. So I just started looking up cheap grills, and Walmart was having like an end of summer sale.
On the Blackstone.
No, on the 3-burner that I originally bought.
Okay.
And so it was like $89, 3-burner. That thing lasted a good long time. And then I found that Blackstone. And for anyone who knows, Blackstones typically are not very cheap. But I managed to find that, I think it's a 28-inch, the adventure style Blackstone with the fold-up legs and everything. And I got it at Walmart for like $285 or like $300, something
Yeah.
like that. And it's normally like a $400 or $500.
Yeah, I'm disappointed you haven't brought that to the shop yet.
I did.
Oh, you at the shop now?
No, it's not at the shop, but I brought it to the shop before Memorial Day weekend
Okay.
because we did a little cookout at work. So I cooked breakfast that morning. I did
didn't get a
steak, egg, and
text.
cheese sandwiches.
Where's my text message?
It clearly went to the tire guys because they knew about it.
Oof. Yikes.
So, and then for lunch we did bacon cheeseburgers, and I made tater tots in the air fryer in the office and potato salad.
Nice.
But yeah, that Blackstone.
Was that last weekend? Memorial Day was last weekend, right?
Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah, that Blackstone has been clutch, and I think that's the biggest thing. People always want to try and find things that are portable, and obviously a lot of grills and things like that are not.
Yeah.
But they
Well,
are out there. You just
So the big thing is organizing when it comes to camping is organizing who's bringing what. And I think we've got that down pretty good. Is you usually
yeah.
get the cooking stuff and the food.
Yep.
I bring a canopy. I think everyone brings a canopy at this point, and
Yep.
everyone brings their own stuff. So you've really got the most responsibility when it comes to that.
I mean,
But then we have to have someone who organizes it too, which kind of falls on someone different every time
well, but that's the thing
about
is like
who's getting what and
because all
and,
the cooking stuff lives at Tom's house,
Yeah.
other than the Blackstone. Like I've got my utensils that I use with the Blackstone, and previously the grill. But as far as like the knives, like the butcher knives and everything like that, and the cutting boards, a lot of that lives at Tom's house, and he takes it home every time and gets it cleaned up. And I mean, you're not wrong. Organization is definitely the big thing, and I think
when you got a group of dudes like us, we're generally 8 when we go camping.
Yeah.
Logistics is the hardest part, and you got to have someone who's responsible for that.
Well, because think about like the first time, like the first time we had a decent sized group, right? Like the first time we went out, not as like the
Bam
dirt
Bam and
nerds.
Walshy.
No, but even before that, right? Like it was you, me, Tom Walk, right? Sylvester.
Yep.
And
Quist.
And instead of having one person do each job, we kind of split it up. Like I was like, "Oh, I'll go get all the meat and stuff, and you get the buns." And we kind of treated it almost like a potluck.
Yep.
And the problem with that is when one person forgets,
it screws everyone
up. We were lucky enough to be at Big Dogs out in Gore. We were close enough to where we could run to
a Walmart.
Yeah, run to a Walmart, and get the stuff that we didn't have, but. Then you're just looking at it from a cost perspective. You're wasting money at that point, and then you get home, and whoever forgot that stuff now has all that extra stuff at home. And
at that point, we didn't have tow rigs, so we had to do the logistics of putting air in tires to run around 30 miles to come back.
Yep. Oh,
And
do you remember how stuffed my JK used to be with my cooking kitchen that I used to bring?
Bad. Dude, I love that cooking kitchen.
Oh, that thing's great.
Seamus had one of those when we went with him.
I still have it. And now that I've got the tow rig, it makes it easier. Because the biggest thing for that thing was I stopped bringing it towards when I still had the JK because it was just such a hassle because I had to get that in the back. And anyone who has a JK understands, like, you only have so much cargo space in the back. So I ended up stuffing that in between the front and the rear seats, putting all of the cooking stuff in the plastic bins that we had up on the seat and basically stacking stuff to the point where I couldn't see out my rear view window.
Safe.
Have all of my camping gear in my front seat so I couldn't see out my passenger side window.
You were also living in Alexandria at this point.
Yes, I was.
So you couldn't just be like, hey, Tim, on your way home from work,
yep,
come grab the camping stuff and put it in the bed of your truck.
And you went to the apartment when you were helping us get the stuff to move, so you saw how small it was, so you can imagine where I would store all that stuff.
Yep, it had its own bedroom pretty much.
Pretty much. So, yeah, I think now we've pretty much got it down pat. Everyone, and because we've made it easy on ourselves, because I think everyone has the same job every time. So there's really never any confusion about who's bringing what. Like, we all know who's bringing what. Like, I go out, I buy the food, stuff it all in the truck.
I guide.
Yeah.
Tom's the mechanical expert if we have any breaks on the trail.
Yeah,
if we need to do it.
But you should really qualify that because it's not us that's breaking.
True, we're saving other people.
We're saving other people, typically other groups that we happen upon because they are stuck in the trail that we're trying to go down.
Yep. Or and then Tom Walk, if he ever shows up. That's a shot, by the way. I'm looking at you. Tom Walk, if he ever shows up, is the rescue expert. Because I wasn't there for that one when you guys rescued Bubba and the boys off of the top of the trail.
Well, technically you were.
I was
somewhere
else.
Well, no. Remember, because we were coming down off a high road. I can't remember if we were coming down Moose or
you guys
U-turn.
were rescuing Horvath's Jeep, right?
So initially, yes. So initially we were rescuing Horvath's Jeep, and I was in your Jeep because you had gone down with somebody else. And because they were then helping Bubba and his
Toyota gang.
Brood of Toyota gangs, mind you, we say rescue legitimately because they were about to literally tumble down the side of this mountain because they had no headlights. It was getting dark. They had no idea where they were going. It was their first time out there. And I then got stuck with the job of moving everybody's Jeeps down the hill. And I remember specifically because you got pissed off because your Jeep was still running.
Yep.
And then I fired back telling you that I was moving 4 Jeeps at a time and I didn't have time to turn them on.
How did I even know that? Did my Jeep run out of gas or something that weekend?
No. I think...
Because I know I wasn't there. Or no, was I doing Horvath's alternator while you guys were doing that?
Yes, and so what ended up happening is you started walking back up the hill, and that's where all the Jeeps were parked, and you were like, what the hell, why is my Jeep running while you guys are off just saving people on the mountain? And it's just like, and I was just like, you know what? I'm about had it with this crap because I'm moving Jeeps while trying to help them help these guys. Like, you shut your dirty mouth.
Hindsight 2020, my Jeep probably wouldn't have started again if you would have turned it off.
Probably. Yeah, you had a little rough run with yours there for a while.
Yeah, I'm still having a rough run with it. I'm actually about to pull the interior out of it to bedliner the whole thing because I'm tired of wet carpet.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've got the camping thing down pat. I mean, obviously, I got lucky with the find on my truck. It's got the built-in inverter, which we use for.
We tried it with mine. Remember my red one? You guys wanted to make coffee in it. You popped the inverter, and I could never figure out where the fuse was.
I forgot about that.
It was a 2014 Silverado 1500, and I guess the generator that's sitting in the side yard died.
Mm-hmm.
But the boys still wanted to make coffee, so they said, "Tim, your truck has an inverter, right?" And I said, yeah, enough of one, I guess." Tom Sylvester went in.
Yep.
Plugged in.
Yep.
Popped it. No coffee that morning.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird because, I mean, obviously, the electric cooler that Tom has, the Massimo, is, I mean, it's got like an eco mode on it, but, you know, obviously we weren't really thinking straight because I think we had bought like that Mr. Coffee. Someone got it off.
It was a full coffee maker.
Oh, but that's my point. Is like I think someone had either gotten it off Amazon or like at Target or something.
I think Walsh threw it in the fire. Or was that Bam Bam?
No, Walsh threw it in the fire. And I don't know why, because the problem wasn't with the coffee maker.
That was with
the
my
problem
truck.
was with your truck. And somebody, it was either Walsh or Bam Bam. You know what? Now that I say that, I have a hard time believing that Walsh was the one that threw it in the fire. That's definitely more of a Bam Bam thing.
I think Walsh dropped it and broke the pot, though.
Walsh did break the pot.
But you can buy a new pot. It's
Correct,
just a coffee pot.
which is why when we found the remainder of it in the fire as we were cleaning up that morning, we were pissed because you can buy a new coffee pot.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's also another huge thing that I've realized at Big Dogs is a lot of guys don't clean up after themselves.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's one thing I learned in the Boy Scouts. Hoorah!
Well, I mean, and
that you got to clean up. You got to police the campsite because you got to leave it better than you found it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and that's the thing is like there's a lot of stuff that you can burn. You know, you got dirty napkins and stuff. Like you can throw that stuff in the fire and be fine.
Try not to burn the plastics. There's usually dumpsters at campsites.
Yeah, any plastics or anything. Try not to do that. But I mean, it's proven itself, right? Because I mean, what did the brothers say after we used the cabin? We were the first people to ever clean up after ourselves.
we like mopped the floors.
Yeah, because it had been rainy that weekend.
And now we're welcome back anytime we want to.
Yeah, so
and they know us by name.
Yeah, I mean it just goes to show, especially like you should clean up after yourself anywhere, obviously, but especially with like private camping grounds. You know, that's typically ends up being part of someone's livelihood. You know, they put a lot of effort into that.
Well, especially at the Cove where they literally live on property.
Yeah, but I mean, just really anywhere. I mean, there's plenty of places where the owners don't live on property, but they spend a lot of time and money trying to take care of those places, and it's really important that you help them do that. And I think that's one of the biggest keys to camping is, like you said, I mean, just like with anything, whether you're camping, going to the ocean, the beach, whatever, like you always want to leave it cleaner than when you found it.
I mean, the biggest conservationists in the world are the people that are actually out there using the property, because we're paying the fees to have the land replenished.
Mm-hmm.
We're paying the permits to be out there. We're paying all that stuff. So we really care about the land more than like the next guy down the street.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's the most important thing is to preserve where we're going and where we're wheeling, where we're camping, to make sure that it's still there in the next 10 years for us to keep using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, that's like so many people get joy out of camping. I mean, we all do it for the same reason. You know, you get away from all the hustle and bustle. There's no cell service. You know, you can really you can really just sit and enjoy, especially at a place like the Cove where it's in its own little pocket. I mean, how many thunderstorms have we watched get split by the mountain?
It's so nice.
And we're sitting there, no rain at all, but we can clearly see the storm on either side, but we've got clear sky sitting up above us.
That's the nice thing about my house, is because it's the same thing here.
Yeah, true.
I love the woods.
True. And, you know, that's, as cliche as it sounds, you know, you like you said, you definitely want to preserve that for future generations, you know, because you never know how long something's going to last.
And that's why Lisa and Chris took over, because they want to keep everything going and keep big dogs alive for
Yeah,
the next
absolutely.
generations coming up. I mean, we were just one of the generations. We saw the Capitol crawlers come around. We
Mm-hmm.
saw a bunch
Yep.
of other groups come around the same time we did. I guess it's the Decent Four guys with James Thornhill
Mm-hmm.
and I guess they're all Ellis Swap buggies now.
Well, and
But they came around about the same time we did.
you've got the Jersey boys that come down
Yep.
and want to get and I think that's the beauty of it, right? Is like you meet people from outside of the local area when you do stuff like this, and what ends up happening, as we've experienced, is they come down, they meet you, they have a great time, and then they go, hey, if you're ever in our neck of the woods, reach
Yeah, you
out
make
and
friends.
we'll go have a good time. And I think that's the beauty of not just the camping community but off-road community as well. And it doesn't hurt when we make good food and we've got 12 different campsites coming over asking what we're cooking because they're eating burgers and hot dogs for the third night in a row, and we're making steak and shrimp tacos in the woods
Yep.
with jalapeno cream sauce and campfire queso and all the delicious things that we make. And
Yeah.
yeah, for me, that's the fun. That's really the most fun part. Is like,
Just being there, meeting people.
yeah, and
the whole community of the thing. It's
well, and
it's about the jeeping is why we go, but you really stay for the people you meet. I mean, I don't think any of us would be where we are if it wasn't for the friends that we've made.
no, and I mean, like, I think everyone picks out the one thing during a trip that they enjoy the most, and for me, it's when other people come to our campsite and go, "Yo, what are you cooking?"
Yeah, for me, it's become like I do enjoy the jeeping. We do about 12, 13. I know I got to get bug spray. We do about 12 hours a wheeling every day, but then you get back and it's the community.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's-
because being able to, like, the guys you meet out on the trail, and then you go, hey man, swing by the campsite later. Like, we'll sit down, we'll crack a beer, we'll just sit around the fire. I mean, God, I can't even count on hands and toes how many times we've stayed up till 1 or 2 in the morning, literally just sitting around the fire, just having conversations like this where you just don't have to think about anything,
No,
right? Like, it's
so
just
nice.
when you find your natural setting like that, it's super nice. And I think that's one of the things that the area that we live in, we get lucky because we can go in so many different directions and get to places like that. We've got,
We'll just find community anywhere.
yeah,
You can go to DC, find community at the Nats game, talk to someone for hours watching baseball.
well,
You can-
I just mean more for camping and,
Oh, yeah.
and off-roading and stuff. Like, it's just, we've got the Cove, for off-roading, you've got Peters Mill and Flagpole, right, where there's groups literally every weekend throughout the season that are going. Like, you don't even have to be part of that group, and all you got to do is look up on Facebook and go Peters Mill, and
And you
there's
see.
groups every weekend posting, hey, we're going up to Peters Mill. Anyone who wants to join, come on with us. And
Yeah,
then
we get-
even further, we've got Roush and AOAA, and there's just so much around. Like, we are very lucky to be so close to so many things. We don't have to drive more than an hour and a half to get somewhere where we can be completely away from all the
just outside
craziness.
the atmosphere
Yeah.
to get all together and just be
Yeah.
be in a place you don't have to think about anything other than hang out with your friends and,
Yeah.
and just jeeping.
Absolutely.
I do have to get up with Travis and I think it's Dax and go to Peters Mill because
Yep.
they're up there all the time and we've got Mackenzie's JK now
Yep.
and we've got to go and wheel. They've offered some invitations. I just haven't taken up on
Yeah,
on it
Dax,
yet.
I'm very disappointed at you. You were supposed to come by the shop today for your oil change and your diff service, and you didn't.
Today is June 3rd.
Yeah. But it's okay. He admitted that he got hung up at work, but I'm still
Okay.
very disappointed.
We got to make a living.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, so they say. That's
Speak-
what they tell
speaking
me.
of make a living, I think dinner's ready, so we gotta go make it eaten. But
But yeah, so yeah, guys, tune in next time. I know we rambled a little bit, but hopefully you got the gist of what we were talking about. Just trying to, if you have any questions about camping, any questions about cooking out in the woods, anything at all, reach out to us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're more than happy to answer any questions about it, give you any tips on it, any items that you're looking up. We can definitely help point you in the right direction. And thanks for tuning in this time, and listen for it next time.
yeah,
And
next week we're gonna be talking a little more in depth about cooking, getting into our history and actually
Yep.
how to prepare food out there.
Yeah, definitely.
But we appreciate you listening. Follow us on at the Dirt Drive on all social media platforms, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.